Hey guys, what's up? It's Imurgency and welcome back to our channel. Today's video is going to be a little different and the background may be a little different, the lighting might be a little different, bear with me, I just moved. So that means we have a new setup, but this setup isn't really complete and I'm really trying to figure out like what works best, what looks best, so please bear with me while the background, the set if you will, changes multiple times throughout multiple videos until I figure out something that I like. So yeah, but today we're going to be talking about a show that I just recently caught up with and finished. A show that, for one reason or another, I stopped watching and then started watching once more and have a lot of thoughts, opinions, jurisdiction, no. Basically, I have a show that I want to talk about, and that show is called On My Block. And I asked y'all in the community tab, you know I love that community tab, and if you are not familiar with what that is, you should go and click the post notifications right now. If you're not subscribed, and if you're not subscribed, you should definitely subscribe right now. It's basically where I like ask you guys questions because I run out of video ideas and need your help, and also post pictures sometimes. Definitely go check that out if you want to like participate in future videos or whatever. But yeah, I asked you guys over there what show you wanted me to talk about first, and On My Block won by a landslide. The show that came in number 2 I think was The Society, which most definitely will be coming next because I'll leave my thoughts and opinions on that to the other video. Right now, let's talk about On My Block. But first, before we get into anything, it's been a while since I've had the pleasure to say this, but this video is proudly sponsored by Cooper. Okay friends, I know what you may be asking. Rumi, what's Cooper? Let me tell you. And actually, hold on, before I do that, let me ask you 2 questions first. Number 1, do you like online shopping? Okay. And number 2, do you like saving money? If the answer to either of these questions, but specifically the second one, was a yes, then Cooper is for you, my friends. Cooper is an online browser extension that is completely free and works in seconds. Literally all you need to do is download the browser extension, go on one of your favorite shopping websites and start shopping, and it's going to start saving you money. Basically what it does is while you're shopping, it combs the internet for all of the available coupon codes that it can find and then applies them at checkout to save you money. This means that anytime you check out on any of the websites that they support, you are going to be saving yourself money. They also have this awesome cashback guarantee where you can click the activate cashback button to get up to 20% cash back. As you can see here, they have a wide list of stores that they support, so it's safe to say that you'll pretty much be covered in saving money pretty much anywhere you go shopping online. And now that I settled that, you may be thinking, Rumi, this is amazing. I can save money and get money back in my own pockets. How do I get started? You can download Cooper completely for free and start saving money shopping by clicking the link down in my description below. Don't worry, I got you. Do us both a favor and start saving with Cooper today. Thank you so much, Cooper, for sponsoring this video. Let's get back into On My Block. Sweet, so On My Block. So I'm gonna be honest, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I have not been the biggest On My Block stan. Okay. I just realized this might be another like unpopular opinions video because from what I've gathered, a lot of people like On My Block, and okay, all right, I'm just not one of those people. Let me preface that season 1, I was here for it. Season 1, I loved On My Block. On My Block was my shit. However, season 2 rolled around and eventually season 3 rolled around, and with each season, my love for the show sort of depreciated, dwindled, went into the gutter. So I found myself at a real crossroads when you're all like, talk about On My Block, review On My Block, please, On My Block content, I need it. Simply because I had already seen most of the show except season 3. When I went to pick it up, I realized that I had actually seen like a couple episodes in season 3, but for some reason I just didn't finish it. So I went ahead and rewatched the whole season, and I remembered why. For those of you that aren't familiar with On My Block, or it's been a while since you've last seen it, On My Block revolves around these 4, sometimes 5, high schoolers in California who are all brought together, basically because they got themselves caught up in a related scandal. In like season 1, the characters really just vibing and trying to figure out like where this rumored roller world money is, which is basically like the sum of old money that these shady individuals happen to bury and hope to never find again. But of course, our characters eventually found that money, which opened up a whole new realm of issues for them in season 2 and 3. But I think I'm getting ahead of myself because I haven't introduced who we're talking about. These 4, sometimes 5 characters include Jamal, who is, I feel like, the comedic relief of the show. He's really eccentric and dorky and quirky, very anxious and over-prepared for a lot of things. He's the one who really gets the group into a lot of trouble by eventually finding the roller world money. And most of the time throughout the show, at least in like season 1 and 2, it just really feels like he's off in his own world. Because like he's so detached and so different and so unbothered by the rest of the characters' plot points, drama, life issues. He's just really focused on what he wants to focus on. And for most of the show, what he's focused on is trying to solve this mystery of Roller World and then eventually the mystery of like Little Ricky and all the other conspiracies that are happening in that town. And I hate to admit it, I really do, but I see myself a lot in Jamal. And it's not just because we're black. The next character in the group is Monse, and Monse has a hate train for her. At least she did for season 1 and 2. She had the biggest hate train because she is known as the most annoying character in the show. Which is so rude. Like, why would they say that? Actually, I know exactly why they say that. Because it's true for like the first couple of seasons. Season 3, I feel like she mellowed out a bit. I'm not sure if like the writers just saw the hate train that was coming from Monse being like the most annoying character. She mellowed out because like in the first couple of seasons, like everything would always be a problem. And for the most part, she would always be the problem. And just generally wouldn't make the best life choices. But yeah, we're following the trend with Love Victor where like the one black woman in the show has some of the worst, not the worst trauma, because the show is pretty traumatic to a certain extent, but she gets dealt like the worst cards. Like, not only does she also have the trope like in Love Victor where the mom leaves, but in this one, in season 3, the mom dies, which honestly like might be for the best because her mom was causing her so much trauma. Her mom was such a shitty person, like so awful. Monse also, like Mia in Love Victor, has to deal with the threat, or not really threat, but like the possibility of like moving schools and like uprooting her life and going somewhere else. Now that I think about it, it's really interesting how like similar both of these characters are. Am I sensing a character archetype? Regardless, she's also in an on-again, off-again relationship with Caesar. And to be honest, Caesar, if not for Jamal, would be like the source of all of the group's problems just because his family is directly tied to like the biggest gang in their area. He has an older brother named Spooky who was like the head of like the neighborhood gang called the Santos. Caesar just doesn't really know how to express his emotions because his dad left, came back, then left again, and was basically raised by his brother and was brought up into a gang. So as far as like life experience goes, he's had a lot. I feel like Caesar's fatal flaw is definitely like communication because so many issues, specifically with Monse, could have been resolved if he just knew how to communicate a little better, be more in touch with his feelings, how he's doing. But you know, he doesn't know how to do that, so of course, more drama ensues. And the fourth character is Rudy, and Rudy's honestly kind of my favorite. He's honestly my favorite character just because he is like also comedic relief, but he also has these like random moments where he like calls out every character in the show and makes valid points, but also has the tendency to also be like a creep. Rudy also has a traumatic story because like in season 1, like the one girl that he really loved got shot and killed, and he also got shot in the process, and all that was because of Caesar. So that's always a fun bonding experience between friends. We also get a really deep look into Rudy's family because his house generally serves as like home base for like the group. So like of course we know a lot about his family. We know about the difficulties between his parents' marriage, as well as, honestly, I know I said I liked Rudy the most, but like the best character on the show, Abuelita, who is Rudy's grandma. She's just like the funniest of the show. Like she has no reason being that funny. She just pops in, says her thing, and keeps it pushing. But recently in season 3, the 5th character that I've been alluding to has become a more prominent role, and that is Jasmine. Jasmine is like that one kid in high school that was like super obnoxious and super loud, had a really big personality, but lacked outward self-awareness. They would always be like ones that would be super loud at 7 a.m, always try and be somebody's friend, but would never like get the hint. You feel me? And that is like the embodiment of Jasmine. We find out later, like once we get to know our character, that she is actually very self-aware and knows what she's doing and continues with that brand just for the sake of like remaining true to herself and her character, which I can respect. Definitely like the first couple of seasons, I definitely wasn't the biggest fan of Jasmine just because I found her character kind of annoying, just because I feel like the main four would be doing something so interesting, then Jasmine would just come along and just kind of derail the plot. And for a plot that's already kind of like slow moving, I just would get annoyed whenever she'd like slow it down some more about whatever she had to say. But in season 3, there's like a little woo because Rudy and Jasmine start kicking things off. Hold on, pause. We need a moment of appreciation for Jasmine because she really played the long game. No Ariana, but she saw it, she liked it, she wanted it, and she got it. Maybe not in the span of like a season, but over the span of 3 seasons, after chasing Rudy for 2 of them, maybe 2.5, Jasmine and Rudy actually got together. And I love that for them. I really do. But those are like the main characters that you need to know to understand what I'm talking about. Next, we're gonna kind of get into like I really didn't want it to be like an unpopular opinions video, but I feel like y'all love this show. I feel like most people love this show. I just don't. I know I normally go like things I like, things I don't like. We're going off the rails today. I don't know what it is. I said it before, but season 1 was the best season in my opinion. And I think that's because it felt like there were more stakes. I know that things got a lot more intense in season 2 and season 3, but it felt forced. A lot of it felt forced.
And what I mean by forced is that, like, in season 1, the plot seemed more organic. Like, of course that would happen. But like in season 2 and in season 2 and 3, a lot of the plot seemed like manufactured because like they kind of did it to themselves just by their own actions. It doesn't seem as like authentic and I guess genuine, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but that's just what I think. So.
And I really just didn't know what it was because at the end of season 1 there was such a great cliffhanger of just figuring out whether Rudy was going to die or not. Season 2 had a good one too with them getting like abducted, but season 3 definitely was not the strongest season in my opinion. Like there was a lot of character development and I can't fault them for that. There was definitely character development, there was a lot of funny moments and a lot of plot points got resolved, but all in all it wasn't my favorite. It definitely was not my favorite out of all of them. I will say though, I did enjoy that they gave Jamal more of a serious role where they tiled down like his narcissism and annoyingness and tied him more closely with the plot. Because while I love Jamal, loved him as a character, having him be like so distant from like what the rest of the cast was doing just felt off because sometimes it felt like Jamal was doing stuff that was a lot more important than whatever everyone else was doing with. And other times they'd just be like, Jamal, what are you doing? Go with your friends, be with your friends, stop being weird. But yeah, season 3 really did wonders for his character in my opinion, just because he was present with everybody else, which caused a lot of conflict, but that conflict was juicy, it was dramatic, it was what we needed. And that's another thing, I feel like season 3 really put the group's friendship to the test. For sure, 100%. Because the fact that they had to work together for so long and actually had to be together as a unit really showed the faults and trauma and pain that they kind of glossed over in past seasons and really just showed like the result of that, like especially near the end where the group is pretty much fighting with each other literally anytime they're together. They all bring up great points, like each of them has in one way or another hurt each other and no one's really addressed it. Like for example, Jamal really got them all in this trouble by fighting the roller world money after everyone was telling him that he wouldn't and that he probably shouldn't, which kickstarted pretty much all of the drama in season 3. Where also Rudy was really mad at Caesar because due to Caesar's direct actions he was shot and someone that he really cared about was unalived. And Monse really hurt everybody when she said that she was like leaving without really caring about her friends. So they're all like, oh, do we mean nothing to you? But yeah, everyone's trauma came out at different times in this season. That was really fun. And I also want to mention, because I saw this in a comment in my Elite video, that usually in a lot of these teen shows there isn't a lot of representation of like parents and where like the parents are and how the parents are involved. And I will say for this show, I really liked how they incorporated parents because it just didn't seem, while it did for the most part seem like the kids were able to do whatever they wanted, there was also a strong parent presence, and a lot of the main characters' conflicts came directly from their parents and the dynamics between them, because you got to see each character's, except for Jasmine's parents, interact with them and like how each of their actions directly impacts the kids' lives. It just makes it feel like slightly more realistic as opposed to these kids just going off and doing whatever whenever without any repercussions. So I definitely feel like for like teen shows they did that right. But now let's actually get into like some unpopular opinions. Let's talk about, let's get into why I am not the biggest fan of this season. This kind of gets into like why I stopped watching it like about halfway through. It just was, this season was just boring to me. Like for most of the episodes they're just trying to find this person, Lil Ricky, and going on a bunch of different misadventures to like figure out who he is. And while of course, yeah, like the little gags are like funny and stuff, it just feels like, what's the point? It's a little bit too slice of life for me. Like the formula would basically just be like, oh, they have a new suspect for who it could be. They go off and try and figure out who this person is. Monse and Caesar have a moment, then fight. Rudy and Jasmine flirt a little bit, and then Jamal has a whole come to Jesus moment about him having a girlfriend stalker situation. And it's just like that for like at least like 3 episodes straight before like the finale. And for me at least, it just got boring. And might I say, like, all that build up was kind of for nothing because the ending was really anticlimactic. They had like the most exciting part of like Spooky going missing and like teasing him being dead just for him to be okay and to have had him solve basically all of their issues without showing exactly how he did it. And that would have been fine. That would have been fine if like Spooky did all that, if they would have shown exactly the exchange between Spooky and Cuchillos. Like, they just took all of the hype that they were building for like the past season or like the past couple of episodes and just threw it out the window. Like, they really hyped up like the main 4 getting ready to take out this mob boss, and they have like all of their emotions, they have them like having their doubts, they have them fighting, like being nervous, just for all that excitement to be like taken from them. And then we don't even get to see what happened. Like, we get to see Spooky all beat up from like taking on the mob boss, but we don't see what happened. So it's just boring. You know, like, we saw that for nothing. Like, there was no conflict, there was no fighting. Like, at least for like the other seasons, you see a little violence, you see a little conflict, like you see like consequence, you know? Like, it just feels like here there was no consequence and there was no payoff. So it just left me at the end of the season be like, why did I watch this? Another funny thing that I just want to mention that has no relation to anything else, but the amount of scenes in this season where Spooky is just standing like, literally kills me because he's like the definition of that standing emoji. It is so funny. Like, Spooky is an amazing character. I love Spooky. And while I'm at it, let's talk about that like very last scene in season 3. Basically, after all the conflict, Monse decides to actually go to that private school and leave for 2 years. And the group is all like, we're not gonna change, we'll be the same, let's all still be the friends. Meanwhile, their friendship before she left was on life support, literally hanging on by a thread, just because of all the trauma they went through. But after those 2 years, it was so interesting to see how they all turned out. Like, with Monse being in private school with all them white friends and her being all like, guys, oh my god. And then we also get a glimpse of like everyone else's life, and for some reason Jamal is like on the football team. Like, I don't know what would inspire him to go on the football team after he had that whole character arc of him like clearly not liking football. Maybe his dad forced him into it or something. I don't know. What do y'all think? Y'all probably know more than me on that, so like what's going on there? Ruby and Jasmine are like to be expected, like them being together. Although I will say, I don't know about y'all, but like something about the way that Ruby was looking in that last scene made me feel that maybe Jasmine and him aren't together, or that Ruby's a little, I don't know what it was about it, but it was given like, be who you are for your pride. And my favorite part of that scene is like seeing like Spooky like actually live his dreams. Like, Spooky actually grows out his hair, has a wife with a kid. Spooky was looking good. Like, don't tell anybody, but like Spooky was looking good. But then finally, the most interesting part of that scene was seeing how Caesar took on Spooky's role as like head of the Santos. Like, there was a scene where Caesar and Spooky were talking and Spooky was like, I'm done with this stuff, I'm done. And Caesar's like, what happens if someone tries to take your power? And Spooky's like, I'll let them, like, go ahead and take it. And then seeing how Caesar went ahead and did that and is now like in his brother's shoes is so interesting. Like, it's such a full circle moment because you just really see how much damage has really been done to Caesar because he's been trying so hard not to be that. And because of him losing his friends and losing Monse, he had nothing else but to go into that life, I guess. Although I really want to see like what happened in those 2 years. Maybe that's what's gonna happen in season 4. I really want to see like the dynamic between Spooky and Caesar and how they've drifted apart between those 2 years, because I can't imagine that Spooky would just let him do that, especially when he's living his life so good and Caesar's not. Overall, I will say that the show is entertaining. It might not be my favorite. I might have not enjoyed it as much as other people may have. And this rating might make y'all mad, and I'm sorry to say, but I give the show like a solid like either 5 or 6 out of 10. Just because it was good. The first season was really good, but it was just like okay for the rest. Like, I wasn't like wowed. I wasn't like super encaptured in the plot or the show in general. So sorry, but yeah, it's a 5 out of 6 for me. Don't hate me, okay? But yeah, that's all I gotta say about On My Block. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button and turn on post notifications so you never miss when I post. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like because that helps out a bunch, and comment down below what you thought about On My Block and other shows I should be watching in general. You can follow me on all my socials here at Imurgency and click the link in my description to join the community Discord. Next up is the Society, and I am so excited to get into that. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Cooper, for sponsoring this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.